Erev Tov, Rabbi. A few interesting things that we wanted to speak about. One is the issue of on Shabbat. I have a friend. I used to teach in the other shul over there, and I had a friend over there. You remember Jimmy, right? You remember Jimmy? Right. So Jimmy, a friend of mine. One time he told me, he says, he comes to shul only once a week, on Shabbat. That's it. Some people come only on Shabbat, right? That's it. So he said, I ask Hashem for all the things that I need. When I come, everything I ask Him, right? From A to Z, the whole thing, right? So, why did He tell me this? Because I told him, that on Shabbat you're not allowed to do this. Some people don't know that, What does that mean? That you're not allowed to ask your, physical, your personal needs on Shabbat. You're not allowed to do that. Did you ever hear about this before?
He's sitting on a different malchut.
So, okay, you're Ish Kabbalah, you're going to Kabbalah. But, right, just, the simple idea. So what's the reason for this? They say the Chazal, by the way, something interesting, which is that, you notice, right, and in the Amidah, we have, in the Yom Chol, we have 19 blessings over there. Yutet. But on Shabbat, how much we have? Only 7. Right? So why is this? Well, what's the purpose of that? Why did they, Chazal, take out all these bakashot, right, these brachot from the Amidah on Shabbat? What's the reason why? Because you're not supposed to ask for your personal needs. All these brachot that we say there are all your personal needs, I need parnasah. I need, zivug. I need all these good things, in life that I want. Those are the brachot that Chazal took them out from Shabbat. Don't say those brachot. Why? Because on Shabbat, what we say, right? She'asali kol tzorki. We have everything we need. You shouldn't be asking for nothing personal, on Shabbat. Because Shabbat is perfect, You're sitting home, you're resting, right? You're learning Torah, you're happy with Seudah, you get everything, So what should you be asking about? There's nothing to ask for on Shabbat. Shabbat is perfection. That's the reason why, A person is not supposed to ask his personal things on Shabbat. So the truth is, that's written, this thing. Where is it written? In Gemara Yerushalmi, Shabbat. It says over there that a person is not allowed to ask his personal needs on Shabbat. It's in Gemara, in the Yerushalmi. They asked over there, by the way, a good question, which everybody should be asking, if you really think about it. You're not allowed to ask for your needs on Shabbat, but we, on the Siddur, if you open, you see, right, that we do ask for on Shabbat, for certain things, We ask for parnasah, we ask for all kinds of good things there,
We're asking in the morning bracha.
Morning bracha?
When you read in the morning those 22 brachot.
Right, those are blessings, We're not really asking for anything there, But on Shabbat also, like for instance, you say Brit Shemeh, right? On Shabbat, Brit Shemeh. We say in after Shachrit and also before Mincha, Brit Shemeh, right? So this is asking also for some things that you want there, to have children, to have parnasah, all kinds of good things. But didn't you just tell me you're not allowed to do this on Shabbat too? So how are you doing that? So the answer is, Gemara answers over there. The answer is that what? That whatever the Chachamim put there in the Siddur, to ask for, that you're allowed to. But your own personal, things that you want to say from your own mouth, this you're not allowed to. Right? So in other words, we only ask for the things that the Chachamim wrote in the Siddur. That's it. Besides that, on Shabbat, no personal requests from Hashem. This halakha. So it's brought down, the Yerushalmi, as we said, brought down in the Tur, the Bet Yosef, right? Also on the Yalkut Yosef is brought down there, and so it's written also there, in the laws of Tefillah. Siman Kuf Yud Bet, right? Over there, it's written. So it's everywhere, brought down these things. I also saw it in the Yebi Omer, Maran Rabbi he also wrote about this in Yebi Omer. I also saw it there. So this is an important thing that a person has to know, So if you have personal things, you want to ask for, what you do is, you Yom Sheni, Yom Chamishi, whatever. When they open the Hechal, you can ask for whatever they want, right? Or in the Amidah, you can ask for whatever you want, no problem, Go and ask you whatever's in your heart. Ask Hashem, to give you, no problem. But Shabbat, She'asali kol tzorki, we got everything on Shabbat. Nothing to ask for on Shabbat. It's perfection. It's only Shabbat, right? Pleasure, The question is like this. I have to ask you a question, Now that we understand this halakha, what is the reason Chazal said this, not to make personal requests on Shabbat? Why? What's wrong with it? So you know what the answer is? The answer is because when you're making personal requests, things that you need, it causes you tsar, because you remember, oh, I don't have this, I don't have this, and you're thinking, you get depressed, you get sad, and you're not supposed to be like that on Shabbat. Sad, depressed, It makes you think about Yom Chol, your personal needs on Yom Chol, things you need, parnasah, this, you're running for parnasah, here, there. This reminds you of the Chol, that's not the way you should be on Shabbat. On Shabbat you should be thinking about higher things, right? Divrei Torah, right? Things which are spiritual. So this takes you into the Gashmiut in the world, when you're making personal demands. This is the problem. This is the reason why Chazal said not to do that on Shabbat. Okay, so a person has to know that, right? Be happy on Shabbat, Baruch Hashem, you got everything. What else do you need, right? If you don't have everything on Shabbat, you know why that is. Because you didn't prepare on Yom Shishi. Right? If you would have prepared, you would have everything. If you don't have everything, that means you better start preparing for Shabbat a little bit better, Right? To make sure you buy everything you need, make sure you cook everything you need, maybe make sure you clean the house, make sure you do everything. This way you'll have everything. Okay, very good. I want to tell you one more thing, also a very important thing to understand. I saw, in the Tehillim, first of all, right, it says, Pasuk, Yivdu et Hashem besimcha, bo'u lefanav birnana. Right? You ever hear this Pasuk before? Right? So what does this mean? What's the meaning of this Pasuk? Right? It says, serve Hashem with simcha. Come with him before him with renana, right? Renana also is like simcha, it's like happiness, joy, So what does that mean? The pasuk is teaching you, very simple, that be sameach in your life, don't be depressed, don't be down. It's not good to be like that, don't be sad, because when you should know, by the way, the Chazal say very strong, the rabbis say very strong things about this. They say that a person who's sad in his life, this is Abba Tumah. What's Abba Tumah? The biggest Tumah that there is. No bigger Tumah than this, Because when you're not happy, you don't succeed with anything. Everything goes down, everything fails. It's the worst thing in life, to be sad, to be depressed. That's why, the truth is, right, there's a lot of people commit suicide, lo aleinu, you know what we're talking about, right? It happens all the time. What's the biggest reason why they're committing suicide? Because they're sad, they're depressed, that's why, They're thinking, oh, my life is nothing, I'm worthless. It means nothing to me. I'm nothing. I'm nobody. I don't deserve to live. Blah, 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 blah. Killing himself like this, in his mind, killing himself, and also killing his body. So being sad is a very bad thing. We don't want this, to be depressed ever. Maybe one day out of the year, you should be sad. Which day that is? Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av, you're supposed to be crying. It's the whole thing, right? You're supposed to be crying. I remember when I was with Maran, Rabbi on Tisha B'Av. Every time there was 2 days out of the year, I would see him crying. Oh, every time. One was Tisha B'Av, right? Always he would cry. When he said Kinot, right? He would say, always. Tisha B'Av is a sad day. That's the way it's supposed to be, right? So Tisha B'Av, okay, that's something else. But the rest of the time you're supposed to be Sameach. Yivdu et Hashem besimcha. That's the thing, And if you're down, this is gonna kill you. If you're depressed, it's gonna kill you. Nothing will succeed like that. They asked, the Arizal one time. They asked him, he was the biggest mekubal the last 500 years. Arizal, Rabbi Tzchak Luria, right? So they asked him. They said, how did you learn so much Torah? Like this, Kabbalah, like this. How did you manage to do that? The truth is, that all the Kabbalah that he learned, this was like beyond nature, above nature, like a human being cannot learn this Chokhmah like this. It's not possible, So they asked him, how did you do it? How did you learn all this Chokhmah in Kabbalah? So what he answered them? He said, why? Because I was always Sameach. He says, because of the Simcha, I was able to go up very, very high levels, of Kedusha. I was never depressed, I was never sad. You understand what this is? It's a big thing, Okay, so that we understand, right? But here's the thing. Comes the Zohar Kadosh, and says just the opposite of this. A little bit, right? A little bit opposite. Says Zohar Kadosh, it says in Galut, right? That means we're not in Eretz Israel, right? Galut. So it says there's no Simcha in Galut. There is no Simcha. So why is there no Simcha in Galut? Why? What's the reason why? Right? Because the tzinorot, the connection between Shamayim and earth, is very broken. Everything is broken. It's not coming in good, straight, connected. It's not connected very well. So because of that, there's no simcha because you're not really connected to the Shekhinah, to the Kedusha. There's no simcha like that. In Galut is a terrible thing, It's terrible. It's the worst thing. So Zohar says, in Galut, if you are living in Galut, like we are, we're in Galut. So it says, don't try to be, be with simcha. It says, be like stark, like serious, serious guy. You ever see these, these rabbis, they're very serious, right? They never smile even, They're coming like this, you never see them even laughing. They don't laugh. I'll tell you, Maran, Rabbi Shalom, I was with him for 15 years. I never saw him laughing, ever. Never was laughing. When he would make a joke, sometimes he would make a joke. Sometimes the rabbi also makes a joke. It happens, right? So he would have a half a smile, difficult, half, he couldn't make a whole smile. Yeah, that's the way he was. So the Gedolim, that's what they are, the rabbis are very serious people, whatever. But says Zohar, this is the proper way to be in Galut. But here's the thing, right? But didn't we just say, right? Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha. So what? Zohar didn't see the Tehillim? What happened? What happened over there? So you know what the answer is? The answer is in Galut, you're supposed to be. You shouldn't show simcha to the outside. Like behaving like with simcha all the time. Dancing, clapping. Like that, la 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 la. Like this, right? This is not proper in Galut to behave like this, because what are you happy about? Why are you so happy? You're in Galut, you're so happy? What's so happy? Why are you so happy there? You should be more serious, We're in Galut, for God's sakes. Don't, and that's what the Shulchan Aruch says, exactly. Shulchan Aruch says, it's from the Gemara. It says, Asur lemalot tzchok pi ba'olam hazeh. You know what that means? A person is not to fill his mouth with laughter in olam hazeh. Why? Because we're in Galut. Olam hazeh, Galut. You're not allowed to laugh too much, Don't laugh too much. What are you laughing about? You're in Galut. Don't you remember? You forgot? You forgot where you are? Where we learn this from this halakha? It says, right, Az imalet chok pinu. It says in the Navi. What does that mean? When Mashiach will come, then we'll be laughing, we'll be full of laughter. Ha ha! But now, no, it says there's no simcha, there's no laughter. In Galut, it doesn't work like that. So you have to understand one thing, right? So the answer is like this. You have to be inside, you have to be sameach. Inside, inside. And that's what, serve Hashem with simcha. But don't show simcha on the outside too much, This is no good in the Galut. Do you know where you are? You're in Galut, You're in darkness. You're in choshech. What are you dancing for? What's there to dance? Be serious a little bit. That's something. Right? I'll tell you one thing. I'll finish here. Right. So it says the Gemara something amazing. At one time, I saw in the Gemara. I think it's in Brachot. It says that one time Rav Asher, who was the leader of the the Jews, right, in the time of the Talmud, right. He was the Gadol. So he says, he went to a chatuna, to a wedding, So in a wedding you're supposed to be sameach, right? That's the whole thing, right? You have to be full of simcha there. So you know what happened, right? He saw them, at the wedding, the kahal, keilah, they were getting very sameach, going crazy, da, 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 da. So he said, he looked at them, he says, this is too much, So what did he do? He took a big, glass, and he broke it like this. Da! Why? To stop them, He didn't want them to be too sameach. Too much. We're in Galut, even at the Chatuna, too much is too much, It can't go too far. ברוך ה' לעולם אמן אמן. לפיכך ענני עמך השומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזרוע ישראל, לפיכך חיבר להם תורה ומצוות שנאמר לו לחפש למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר.